Russian wrestling is incredibly
That's Sambo?
technical. Well, the Eastern Bloc countries, like they have a super high level of wrestling technical skill. Like that's one of the reasons why Georges St. Pierre is so good, because he was training with these Russian nationals that came over and lived in Montreal. Like that's where St. Pierre learned how to wrestle.
Yeah, he has a solid base.
Dude, he's incredible.
Yeah.
For a guy that
Is he coming back?
I don't know. That he keeps thinking about it and talking about it. But
I'm sure you've heard the rumors.
Yeah, well, they're talking about like a super fight with Anderson.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In Toronto.
No one's told that to me.
I've not heard that.
I feel
I've
like
heard it, but I've not heard it from a human.
if I was George, and I was thinking right now, I think Georges St. Pierre is. I mean, there's only a small handful of people as famous in the world of MMA as a fighter as Georges St. Pierre. There's Conor, who's the most famous. There's Ronda, who's right up there. Ronda and Conor are almost interchangeable in my eyes as far as like how famous they are. Like maybe more Conor because he's famous worldwide. I don't know, man. It's super close.
I think Ronda affected her legacy by taking that year off.
Well, that doesn't matter. If she comes back with a storm, she beats Amanda Nunes and gets the belt, she's bigger than ever.
It's a tough one.
It's a very tough one. But if she does do it, she's bigger than ever. She's got that, whatever it is, that dynamic personality that people get attracted to. And there's something about her losing, and maybe even losing like that could even make it more attractive to some folks. You know, it makes her more human, makes her more vulnerable. You know, one of the things that people didn't like about her was how confident and strong.
She was very invincible at the time.
Well, and she was also like really aggressive about it with other girls. But, you know, in her eyes, those girls are trying to take something from her.
Well, she was the Mike Tyson of MMA.
Yeah, that's the only way you get to be a champion is if you have like that insane belief in yourself. But when you lose the way she lost to Holly, which is, you know, a devastating knockout, it's always interesting to see how someone rebounds. Some people rebound, they become better. They come back tougher and stronger. And
that's what we're hoping for.
That's what you're hoping for. Well, or some people come back, they fight smarter. That was Georges St. Pierre. When Georges St. Pierre got beaten up by Matt Serra clobbered him. Just clobbered him. Clipped him, hurt him, got on top of him, mounted him, punched him in the face, made him tap. He beat the shit out of him. And George came back better than ever. He just regrouped.
But George also didn't take a year off in between there.
It's true. It's
and
true,
he
but I
didn't
don't
get
know.
on TV and, you know.
No, list for sure.
I just think
George is a different person.
You know,
for sure.
I love Ronda, but I'm hoping, you know, for her.
I'm a big fan of taking a long time off when you get knocked out.
I get that. I understand that.
I think it's real important.
It is very important. However, what you do in that time and how you present yourself in that time is also important.
Well, she didn't really do much. She kind of laid low, you know, which I think is really smart.
Too low.
Nah, I don't think so. I see your point, but I disagree. I think she can do whatever the fuck she wants. You know?
I mean, I don't know that it really affected her brand so much, but
you sound like a marketing genius.
That's what I'm just thinking
Dude,
about.
you should have a startup. We should have a startup together.
Let's do it. What do you want to do? Weed for people who don't do weed.
What do you think is wrong with taking a year off? Like
nothing's wrong with taking a year off, but you know that Ellen interview where she was talking about contemplating suicide.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, I think those are the things that showed the mental makeup, and that's where I think that's what's put the doubt in everybody's mind now.
If I had to do a Brendan Schaub right now, I'd say for sure don't do your first interview with Ellen on TV.
Yeah, and cry.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I think those TV formats, although I've done them and I enjoyed them, when you do those things, you can't be yourself in 7 minutes. It's not enough time.
Especially if they don't know you.
And the people you're talking to don't know you either. There's a giant crowd of people, and there's lights that say applause, and everybody's cheering. There's a guy who
the clapping instead of laughing.
They got a warm-up guy who walks around.
Come on, guys.
Okay,
we're going live.
We're coming back live. You guys are super excited. We're excited to have you. Thanks for all your enthusiasm. We really appreciate it. I'm just going to need it. Let's just 10% more, folks. Yeah. Come on, we can do this.
Yeah. Take whatever you got and add 30 to it.
Now, Rhonda, tell us about your head trauma and all these people. I mean, it's like, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre way to talk to people.
I think what she should have done was talk to somebody in the fight game. It would have been received a little bit better because then she would have been speaking to somebody knowledgeable about.
Yeah. Well, You know what, man? She can do whatever she wants to do. I don't know what was going on in her head during that time, but I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a year off, getting your head together. And she also had some injuries she had to take care of.
Do you think she should have changed her training camp?
I don't know what she's doing. Honestly,
Word
for
on the
me
street
to
is she's still right back at Glendale Fight Club.
listen, whether or not that guy Edmund has had success with some of his students, or like what issues they've had, you can't deny that he's worked wonders with her hands. Like her striking ability when she was warming up for that Bethe Correia fight, and they were in Brazil. They were on the sand, and they're doing these pad drills together. She looked fantastic, right? You look at her when she first started striking. You look at it till now. That's a big percentage of that is those two working together. So there's no denying there's some merit to what he does. Unquestionably. I mean, he's definitely helping her. You would have to examine the whole camp like a scientist. You'd have to sit down to do this right. Like you got a world class, world championship level racehorse in a woman like Ronda Rousey, right? Or any fighter for that matter. And if you were the overseer, if you were someone who could say, okay, what is the best course of this thing? Like how do you? Well, you have to address technical issues. You got to address psychological issues. You got to address comfort, nutrition, all these different things. You'd say, okay, technically, what are we trying to achieve? Victory, right? Like, what is her best options? Like, is she training with the best kind of sparring partners? And the thing is, you don't fucking know. Like, one person could do it one way and be super successful. Then everybody says, well, that's the way to do it. You don't spar, and you only do drills, and then you ride bikes.
That. Yeah.
That's what Donald Cerrone's been doing. Or you could go the Eddie Alvarez route, right? Eddie Alvarez sparred like 150 rounds preparing for Rafael dos Anjos. So he went the other route. He just said, we're going fucking crazy. We're going to go old school, crazy. We're going to go in there and brawl and just be completely prepared
But
to
Cerrone
fight.
doesn't continuously train without sparring, does he?
Yes.
How long has he been doing that?
Since the fight with Dos Anjos. He was talking about it. He said, you take too much punishment in the gym. It's like you're taking too much punishment in sparring. And he had some issues where I think he said he closed his eyes and his equilibrium was giving out. He was falling. And he was like, what the fuck? And he realized he found out later it was an inner ear issue, I think it was, right?
I had,
ear
like a vertigo type thing.
Oh, it was a nose clogging one that had affected his inner ear. I think it was like an infection in some way. But so he decided, let's just do drills. I know how to fight.
Yeah.
And he's had incredible results. So I think some other guys are doing that too.
And the frequency that Cerrone fights at as well. He can probably get by without doing that because he's in the ring enough where he doesn't need to be in the ring extra.
I think you're right. I think there's that too. It's like there's a comfortable balance, and it's probably one of the reasons why he likes to fight so much.
He's easily the most active fighter in the game.
He definitely tries to be.
Yeah.
But the problem also is like right now, like setting up the right fight for a guy like him is probably not that easy. You know, I mean,
because he's always ready.
Well, he's always ready, and but setting up a fight for him is like, you know, it's a high profile fight, but it's also a dangerous fight. So you got to say, okay, who do you set him up with? Because after you see what he did to Rick Story, you go, holy shit! Like Donald at 170 is like some new thing.
Yeah,
he's a new thing. Like he's way healthier. It's just. It kills me to think that guy was starving himself for all those years.
He's a big dude.
He's not small, but at 155, he just didn't have the durability. And at 170, god damn, he's looking good. Yeah. It's amazing. It's a crazy sport, isn't it?
You know, I love it. So, you know, and I love being there at those things. And you know, when you get to know the fighters and stuff, and you hear a little inside talk, and it's always interesting, you know.
I know it is, man.
Because you know, you realize when you meet them and you talk to them that they're just guys doing a job. They're not looking at it as I just want to be the toughest guy in the world. They're like, I got to get more money out of this.
Well, there's